Is Jonas Valanciunas in decline, or will he be a key contributor for the Wizards in DC this season? We're going to answer that next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Brandon Scott again, and I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. All right, everybody, the topic for tonight is Jonas Valanciunas in decline, or will he be a key contributor in DC? What can we expect from Jonas Valanciunas? We're also going to go over some over and unders this season for Jonas and look at some trade scenarios with the New York Knicks and the LA Lakers, which are the two teams that have the most interest in acquiring his services towards the deadline. So let's get into it. Jonas Valanciunas acquired this season, signed a 3-year contract. He is making $9.9 million this season. What can we expect? What will his role be? But first, let's get into the key topic, right? Is he in decline, or is he not? Let's take a look at his career stats, because he is on his fourth team. Obviously, he started off with the Toronto Raptors, was traded mid-season, the 2018 and 2019 regular season, from the Toronto Raptors to the Memphis Grizzlies, and then signed to the New Orleans Pelicans in the 2021 to 2022 season and forward. And obviously, he is now the newest, one of the newest members of the Washington Wizards. But is he in decline? I mean, obviously, if you look at his age, he's going to start to decline. But is he? How bad of a decline can we expect this season with the Washington Wizards? Or is he still a key contributor on I'm not going to say good team, but I mean, obviously a team where he's not going to be a featured part of the offense, and defensively, he's going to have a nice help defender and Alex Sarr. So let's take a look at his stat line now. This previous season with New Orleans, he did play and start all 82 games. Availability is your best ability, and he has shown throughout his career. He had a few years here and there where injuries were concerned, but not so much. I mean, for the most part, especially early on in Toronto, he averaged around 80 games played and started. So this previous season, again, 82 games played, 82 games started. He averaged 23.5 minutes per game. So that's around a starting center where he's kind of splitting with another center. 25 minutes is around what you expect from him. Let's see, he shot 55% from the field, 30% from three, which definitely his numbers went down there. Free throw percentage, 78%. He averaged 8.8 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and 0.8 blocks per game. And he averaged 12.2 points per game. So looking at his stats from early in his career, looking at this high point, and then, where we're at now, can we expect him to decline? Now, his best season was his 2018 and 2019 season, where he was traded from the Toronto Raptors to the Memphis Grizzlies, where with Toronto, he averaged 12.8 points a game. And when he was traded to Memphis, he averaged 19.9, which was his career high. Next year in Memphis, 14.9, and then Memphis again 17, and then New Orleans 17, 14, then 12. So steadily, his points per game have been going down. Now, obviously, looking at New Orleans and Memphis, a little different as opposed to Toronto, where he had a little more responsibility offensively. Now, he was not a number one or number two option, even a number three option in Toronto, especially with DeRozan, Laurie. The list goes on. But he had, he was definitely more of a featured piece to a certain degree in Toronto, where in Memphis, he was definitely not a featured piece offensively. He's just trying to be that rim protector. And, here's the thing. A lot of people, the biggest knock against him is a lot of people say that he's not that rim protector. But, I mean, look at the stats. Again, his best season, again, was 2018 and 19, where he averaged 1.6 blocks per game. And that was with Memphis. So his first year in Memphis, or his first half a year in Memphis, was very productive for him because he had a career season. Now, can we expect him to be that rim protector here in DC and work in tandem with Alex Sarr and really hold down the paint? Yes and no. Now, again, his numbers are steadily declining. From that career season of 1.6 blocks, it went down to 1.1 block, then 0.9, then 8, then now, and that's where we're at now. So his numbers have steadily declined. Looking at 3-point, so we know before we get into 3-point percentage, from a rim protector standpoint, can he still be that guy? He's not going to be the same guy he was in Memphis or even Toronto, where he was a Wizards killer. He's a guy who had played with a chip on his shoulder. He's not going to be the same player. but I think he will work well in tandem with Alex R in that front court. I think Alex R has shown that he also can be a young rim protector, a guy who could really be active and help defense. And I think they could be a really good 1-2 punch in the front court for the Washington Wizards in the first half, because I don't see Jonas being here past the deadline. I definitely see him in the Knicks jersey or a Lakers jersey, or another team, competing team who needs his services, because again, he's making $9.9 million a year. So you're not gonna break the bank to acquire him. And would you have to give up a pick? Maybe a young player. We'll see, because we're definitely gonna get into that later in this video. So looking at some other numbers where he could possibly decline. Now, he is a center who can spread the floor. His best year was in Toronto 2016 2017, where he shot 50% from three-point range. But his best years really were in Memphis. 2019 then 2020, he shot 35% from three. Then he goes to 36, 36, 34, and then it went down to 30% this previous season. So I do think those numbers will get better. I think that his shot will be around 33 to 35%. I definitely see him. And like I said, that isn't over and under, so we're going to talk about that. I ain't trying to give it up right now, but I don't see that as a number where he's going to decline. Now, I could be wrong, because there are areas of his game where he's going to decline. Now, field goal percentage 55. I definitely expect him to be around there because of his size and his ability to, the dog factor, and his ability to navigate into the paint, scoring and defensive wise. So I don't see too much of a decline there. Now, numbers I do expect around 25 minutes, especially the fact that he had Rashawn Holmes, Martin Bagley III, and Tristan Vucevic. So I definitely see him getting around 25 minutes a night. So answering the question, right? Should we expect him to decline this season, and what would his role be? Well, answer the first part. He's going to decline a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be a general decline. And I think by the time you start to see significant decline with Jonas Valanciunas, he's going to be wearing another uniform. So I don't think that's too much of a concern for us. Maybe for the next team or two after us, you will start to see some decline, because he is, I believe, 32 years old, 22, Lord numbers. I believe he's 32. Yep, 32 years old, man. So you're going to start to see decline. Now, in the NBA, your prime is from age 27 to age 31. So he's starting to step out his prime. So I don't think it's going to be a significant decline. I definitely think that his numbers are going to be right around where they have been the last couple of years. They did kind of decline last year, but there was a lot going on in New Orleans. So I don't think that a lot of that had to do with him or his age, but you're going to see slight decline. Now, his role, as far as a key contributor, he's going to work well being a mentor and definitely help push Alex R to be more aggressive and definitely, again, form a nice 1-2 combo in the front court for the Washington Wizards. But he's not going to be, looking at the sense of things, he's not going to be a key contributor. Obviously, the 1-2 punch, as far as your scoring options, are going to be Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole. And then after that, you can argue Alex R and Bilal Coulibaly are going to take precedence because they're young players who need the ball in their hands. So he's not going to have a lot of responsibility. The biggest thing with Jonas Valanciunas is him being a mentor to Alex R and other centers on the roster, especially overseas players. He's definitely going to be a guy who's going to be very active. Definitely want to see him work with Martin Bagley III, another guy where, when his motor is high, he's a good, productive player. Rashawn Holmes, he's a vet at this point in his career, and he's not really going to look for mentorship from another veteran player. So, but he's going to be a mentor also. So I think that the center rotation is in good hands to a certain degree, because you have a lot of veteran knowledge here between Jonas Valanciunas and Rashawn Holmes, and even Martin Bagley III. He's been around. He's on his third team, so he definitely has some experience that he can impart on the young player, man. So I think the center position is good. So what can you expect? Those are the roles I look at for Jonas Valanciunas: mentor and 1-2 tandem punch with Alex R in the front court. You might see slight decline this year, but I think by the time you really see some significant decline, he's going to be in another uniform. And I hate to say it like this, man, but it's not going to be a problem. You know what I mean? So definitely hope he has a blessed career, man, and continues to, stay in the show, which is a baseball term, I know. But you're going to see some decline once you hit a certain point. I don't think it's going to be this year. You could. You don't know. You could, but I'm not banking on that. I think you're going to see right around what he contributed the last couple of years. So we're going to get into some over and unders, man. What are some over and unders for Jonas Valanciunas this season? And then we're going to get into some trade packages from the New York Knicks and the LA Lakers for the services of Jonas Valanciunas. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Now, look, you guys know me, man. I go to games all the time. This last Sunday, went to the Ravens and the Raiders game. Great game, man. Devontae Adams got him on my fantasy team. He showed out. The Ravens, man, I am a Commanders fan, but I do unofficially kind of root for them because they are in the, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, man. So like I try to show love to most local teams, whether it's NCAA or pro. But look, well, Game Time to me is the best app outside of any other app. And I ain't gonna throw no names out there, but there's three main reasons why you should definitely rock with Game Time over the other competitors. Number one, Game Time picks. Creation makes it easier to save more on sports events, but not only sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater events, etc. What else? Seat views. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, so you don't end up sitting behind a beam or a wall, right? You know what your view is going to be before you even show up to the arena or the stadium. And the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. I'm trying to tell y'all. So look, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. That is LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, y'all? Game time, baby. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen of the day. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On NBA podcast. There is no offseason in NBA, let me tell y'all, man. And Locked On NBA provides daily basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed and entertained as Locked On NBA. Available on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, everybody, let's slide back into the next topic. Over and unders. Let's get into some over and unders, and we're going to compare these over and unders, obviously, to last year's stats. So, first over and under. Last year, he scored 12.2 points per game in his last year in the Crescent City. Now, over and under 12.2, and I'm going to say under. And the reason for that is because, again, he is not a focal point of the offense. You're looking at scoring options. You're looking at number one, Kyle Kuzma. Number two, Jordan Poole, because he's going to be the point guard, hopefully, where, he's going to be distributing more and scoring opportunity is going to slide a little more towards Kyle Kuzma, but he's definitely going to be the number two option. Then, obviously, look, to develop, you need the ball in your hands. So you definitely want to see a lot more touches, not only for Bilal Coulibaly, but for Alex Sarr. So there's a lot of touches that I think he's going to score right around 10.5 points per game. He's definitely going to get his, man. Like you said, he's a center where, he's got post moves. He knows how to score in the paint. He knows how to shoot the rock from three. Mid-range, not too shabby. He's a guy who's going to, he's going to get his. But he's not going to be anywhere close to the priority of defenses as far as game planning. So, I would definitely say under because, Alex Sarr is going to get his. He's another guy who's going to be able to spread the floor. And Bilal Coulibaly, I think you're going to see some progression from him, especially on the offensive end. Even though we know defensively he is a dog, but offensively you're going to see some progression now. Will he formally break out? No, but that's a subject for another day, y'all. So, over and under. Let's get into the second one. Rebounds. Over and under 8.8 rebounds. And I'm going to say over. I think that, yes, Alex Sarr, the big knock against Alex Sarr was rebounding numbers. And you look at the summer league, his rebound numbers was decent, and you saw the potential with him being a rebounder. Again, I really like the tandem between Alex Sarr and Jonas Valanciunas. Now, obviously, look, we know it's not a long-term tandem. Jonas is probably going to be on his way by the deadline, and we'll see where they place Alex Sarr, who takes up and starting center. Rashawn Holmes, we'll see if it's Tristan Vucevic, if it's Marvin Bagley III, because Marvin Bagley III is another guy who's on an expiring contract, and they will look to showcase him to move him at some point, right? So, but they do form a really nice tandem. So rebounding numbers, he's going to get his. His rebound numbers have always been solid, and I think he would definitely get over 8.8. I looked at him to get it from 9 to 10 rebounds per game because he would definitely get the opportunity to do so, man. But I think he would. Not to say that Alex Sarr won't take rebounds away from him, but I don't think it's going to be significant of a number to really bring it under as opposed to over. All right. The third over and under for the night, over and under 3-point percentage, 30%, and I'm going to say over. I think he's going to shoot around 33 to 35% from three. Like I said, a lot was going on in New Orleans last year. A lot of injuries, a lot of turnaround with player personnel. I think he's going to do better this year because, like I said, there's no pressure for him to be a focal point. You have Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole to be those guys scoring. You have Bilal and Alex Sarr developing and getting their moments, so he has time to kind of do his thing. So I think he will shoot better than 30%. But if you see decline, this will be the area where you see it. So if you see a decline, you're going to see this 3-point shooting percentage, in my opinion. Now, because I think that his rebound numbers won't be impacted by any kind of decline in this game. I think his shot will be one of the first things that would decline. So If you do see any kind of significant decline, which I don't think you will, but if you do, it will be in his 3-point percentage, in my humble opinion. So let's look into the last one, over and under blocks per game. Now, he had 0.8 blocks per game this previous season with New Orleans. I'm going to say over, but slightly. I'm going to say he's going to go from 0.8 to 0.9 to maybe even 1 block per game because, again, he's going to have the opportunity to be that rim protector. They're working in tandem with Alex Sarr. They're going to be a heck of a defense in the paint, man, in the front court. I'm saying right now, Alex Sarr, because, again, the first part of, we'll slide to Alex Sarr real quick. The first part of his game, they're really going to see progress, is going to be his rim protection, his defense. His offense has ways to go. In other areas of his game, has a long way to go, but you're going to see the rim protection. I think that, when he works in tandem in the front court with Jonas Valanciunas, you're going to get a better player than Alex Sarr, and it's going to be hard to score on them, man. Like I said, Jonas, has he declined to the point where he's going to stop being rim protector? No, it ain't. Like I said, I looked at the scouting report. A lot of people said, his paint defense has been suspect. I mean, you got to look at what's going on at the teams he's playing with. When he played at his finest as a rim protector, you had a team where he had a clear role, and it was in the other part, like 2018 and 2019 was his time to shine. 19.9 points per game and then 1.6 blocks, and it was a perfect situation for him going from Toronto to Memphis, man. And then it's slightly going down from there. So, like I said, I'm gonna give him the over, but I would not be surprised if it was the under, to be totally honest with you guys, man. So we're gonna look at some trade ideas, man, because as we all know, the LA Lakers and the New York Knicks, man, wanted Jonas Valanciunas and Will Dawkins, because we all know he's playing chess, not checkers, man. So he made the move to grab him, man, knowing that two hopefully contending teams were vying for his services, man. So we're gonna be able to get some for him. So we're gonna take a look at the Lakers and the Knicks draft picks and salary cap situation and see what would be the best trade package, or what can we expect in any potential deal with the Los Angeles Lakers or the New York Knicks. So, but before we do that, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now, you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you guys tonight. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you better watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. Thank you guys again for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. Now for your second listen, go find Locked On NBA, where the local experts keep you updated daily on all the biggest storylines ahead of the season, because it's coming up, y'all. Find Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, everybody, let's get into it. Let's go ahead and knock this out and call it a night. Let's get into it. Now, as we all know, or should know, the Knicks and the Lakers were both suitors who heavily were expressing some interest in Jonas Valanciunas. And a lot of reports came out that they're going to go after him before the deadline. Definitely at the deadline. He's going to be moved at some point. And again, Will Dawkins proves, man, that he's playing checkers, not chess. He continues to make really good under-the-radar moves. This is a move that's not heavily talked about in NBA circles. And I think this is a really good move because you got a guy who can still be a servable center in the NBA. And you got him on the cheap. And you're going to be able to flip him and get some assets back. So let's take a look at the Lakers and the Knicks, what their pick situation is, their salary cap situation, and what kind of package can we expect, man? All right, so let's look at it. Let's pop up the Lake Show and their pick situation. All right, bear with me. So, all right, looking at the payroll, this year, Jonas Valanciunas is making $9.9 million. So if they're looking to match salaries, there's really, to me, 3 players that realistic, because the Lakers are going to have to rebuild at some point. Now, are they willing to jettison some of the young players, whether it's Max Christie, whether it's Jalen Hood, Shafino? I don't see them moving Dalton Connect yet. And I always call him Next because in German is neck, but Connect, Dalton Connect, which is a really nice player, man. I liked in the draft. But $9.9 million, what kind of player can you expect in return? Now, would they be willing to give up Jared Vanderbilt? I don't think so. 25 years old, he's making 10.7, and his salary goes up to about 12.4 in 2026 to 2027, and then the next year is a team or player option. So, I mean, the age, I guess, fits, but where would you put him? You know what I mean? I think he's definitely a nice role player for the Lakers that they need if they indeed want to make the play-in or the playoffs, man. So, I don't see them moving on from him. Gabe Vincent making 11 million, maybe, but the point guard situation in DC, between Jordan Poole, we're gonna end up trading Brogdon, but you got Jerry Butler, you have Bob Carrington, so the ad Gabe Vincent, would it make or break the salary cap situation? Nah, because the highest he's going to make is the second year of his deal, and it's 11.5, so it's not going to make or break anything. Kind of like Kyle Kuzma and in other contracts that we currently have on the roster. So young players, could we get a young player in return? Max Christie could be a guy, 21 years old, making 7.1, so you could add him, and maybe Jalen Hood Schifino, point guard, Duke product. There's a couple young players, man, and I will not be opposed to that. We're definitely in the market for not only draft picks but for young players. So to make the salaries match, you could see both of those guys. You could see one of them and maybe an expiring contract, because there's a player option for D'Angelo Russell for 18.6. We'll see if he enacts that. But Christian Woods on the option, Cam Reddish option, Jackson Hayes option. So there really is no expiring contracts. Now, technically you can say LeBron, but we're not getting LeBron, man. So I would ask, if I'm the GM, if I'm Will Dawkins, I would ask a package that would contain Jalen Hood Schifino and Max Christie. A couple of young players, man. I'll take a look at their pick situation now. In 2025, they got 2 second-round picks, their own and the Clippers. 2026, they have a first-round pick. 27, a second-round pick. 28, a first-rounder. 29 first rounders. So they're trying to open up. Once you get to 2030, they have both their first and second rounders. So, but you expect by 2030, they're probably going to be. Would the Lakers ever really rebuild? I'm not going to think. They never really went through a total rebuild. You can look at a couple of years here and there when Swish Parker was a point guard for Kobe. You call that a rebuild, but they're a team where, obviously it's the Lakers, man. Not only they're a basketball team, they're entertaining the value. It's Los Angeles. And when you play in a city like Los Angeles, man, there's standards. There's high standards, man. It's kind of like sports cities like DC or Philly or New York, where there's expectations. We're just nicer in DC than Philadelphia and LA and New York are, because we wait a little bit till we throw a lot of smoke at our teams, man, even though we are a very passionate fan base here in DC. So could you get a first rounder? Yeah, but looking at LeBron James, his age, his contract, me personally, I must go ahead and call it. If he doesn't retire after this season, it's definitely going to be after next season. So you're looking at 2026 to 2027. So would they be willing to part from the 2027 second? Maybe. But the 2028 and 2029 first round picks, I don't know, man. Me personally, I think they would be hesitant to move those, because they're going to be getting younger at some point, and they're going to need those draft picks. Now, could we grab a second round pick this year, 2025 pick? Absolutely. And throw that into a deal with, again, Jalen Hood Schifino and Max Christie? Absolutely. So let's go ahead and throw that as a package real quick for the Lakers. If I'm going to trade Jonas Valanciunas to LA, I'm going to ask for Max Christie and Jalen Hood Schifino. The salary should match up. And I'm going to ask for the Clippers 2025 second round pick this year. You could go for the 2026 first. I think that could be realistic. Or the 2027 second, but it's Jonas Valanciunas, and his contract is very friendly, and he's not a marquee player. Do I think he's worthy at this point in his career of a first round pick? Maybe you could slide that 2027 first, man. But I think I would expect a second round pick and some young players. So that would be the package that I'm looking at for the LA Lakers, man. So let's get into the Knicks, because the Knicks, man, they are going to be a force in the Eastern Conference, man. If you look at what they got going on in New York, man, finally the NBA is a better league when the Knicks are good. I remember way back, just the Allen Houston days, man. Latrell Sprewell. Stephon Marbury, who's starting to really make his face be known around the NBA circles again, man, which is good to see, because he's found a lot of success in the People's Republic of China. So let's take a look at the Knicks now. Again, Jonas Valanciunas is making $9.9 million. So what player can we get to match salaries? Dante DiVincenzo. I butcher his name every time, man. Dante D. I'm gonna call him Dante D from Villanova, man, because I hate to butcher names, man. For some reason, the Italian ones give me trouble, man. I can do most foreign names, man, but the Italian ones always give me, man. But Dante, I don't see them moving him, man. He goes back to Villanova days with Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and Jalen Brunson. So there's that connection, that chemistry. So could you package maybe a couple young players? Who could we really expect, guys? Miles McBride, he's making 4.7, 24 years old. You could see him. Expiring contracts, they really don't have any. I mean, Julius Randle is expiring ish because it's a player option after this season. But do you really? I mean, if it comes with a first round pick, maybe you take on Julius Randle, but that's 28.9. So then you're probably going to add a player to the deal. So you're probably looking at Malcolm Brogdon. Now, Malcolm Brogdon wouldn't be a bad backup point guard for the Knicks. So that could definitely work if you want to move on from Malcolm Brogdon. But like I said, there's not a lot of salary that can really matter. Now, you can look at Mitchell Robinson. But if you look at the center position, I mean, we're trying to trade a center, so it doesn't make much sense to bring one on, even though it's a 2-year deal. He makes 14.3, and then next year he's making 12.9. So it wouldn't make a break a salary cap situation for the Wizards, and he wouldn't be looked at as a long-term piece. Now he's 26 years old, but he will be an expiring contract after this season. Next year would be his contract year. So could you look at Mitch Robinson? Yeah, absolutely. That could be but I think looking at more picks now. Obviously, looking at the pick situation with the Knicks, they have our protected picks 1 through 10 first round pick this year, so it's definitely subject to us being in the first 10 picks, which I think we all know we're probably going to hit that. So they're probably not going to get that pick, but we're not going to get Detroit's because they got Detroit's first round pick this year, and that's protected 1 through 13. I don't see us getting that. And they're going to be good for a little bit. So I think that you could, if you look at the years 2026 to 2027, maybe 28, could you slide a first rounder? Well, they don't have too many first rounders. They got a lot of second rounders, and Lord knows we own almost every first round or second rounder in the league. So I mean, we can always take more, right? So looking at their pick situation, I mean, 2026, they have their own first rounder. Maybe you can flip that, but I don't see them giving that up for Jonas Valanciunas. Maybe if you throw Malcolm Brogdon in there to be the backup point guard behind Jalen Brunson, maybe. But I think the best case scenario, because if you look at their second round pick situation, I mean, 2025, they have 2 second round picks, 26, 2, 27, they have 2, and then 28, they have 2. So I think just like the Lakers, man, you're looking at a second round pick or 2, and maybe a young player. And then you're looking at the Knicks. I mean, Mitchell Robinson's the only guy that I really see them giving up because he's been a name that's been floated for some time and really been connected to Wizards. So, 9.9, you're going to be taking on around $5 million in salaries, which at this point, I don't think is going to be really a big deal for the Wizards. So you could see Mitch Robinson and 1 to 2 second round picks. So that's going to be the package I'm going to go with tonight, guys. Again, for both trades, let me know what you guys are thinking. Get in the comment section, get active. Let your boy know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And what kind of trade package would you do with the Lakers or the New York Knicks? So I'm going to say Mitch Robinson. And you could be subject to throw a player in there as far as the Wizards, maybe a Johnny Davis or somebody to throw in there. Because let's take a look at the Wizards situation as far as payroll real quick. $5 million. If you could throw $5 million in there, what kind of player could we give up? And I'm looking at being realistic here. Maybe Jared Butler if they want to back a point guard. But then because the only time I really brought up Malcolm Brogdon is that they wanted to give us Julius Randle. And to take on Julius Randle, yes, he has a player option. And look, the money talks. So, I mean, he's going to want that. He's going to enact that. $28 million is not going to make a break, especially if we trade over Malcolm Brogdon. But then I would take on a first-round pick. It kind of echoes Al Horford, when he came over from Oklahoma City to, I forget, man. I don't know if it was to Boston or Philly. You guys let me know, man, because I'm having a brain fart, man. It's been a long day. But the team ended up getting the first, just taking on Al Horford's contract. So maybe we can get that first-round pick from them, and I'm looking at the 2026 first rounder. Maybe we can pull that off for Julius Randle, but I'm going to say Mitch Robinson for 2 second-round picks, and that's going to be the trade deal. So, again, you guys get in the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking. So, before I roll tonight, guys, I'm looking forward. We're going to take a look at this is what we're going to do for the next couple of weeks. Now, look, Media Day is September 30th, the last Monday, really the last day of the month. I will be there dressed in my finest duds, ready to talk to the players and the execs and the coaching staff. Definitely excited because Media Day is the first step towards training camp, preseason, and the regular season. So it's getting here. It's coming fast, and October is definitely when things start to get interesting. So again, September 30th, I will be there for Media Day. So that night, definitely going to go through all my notes and everything and break everything down for you guys for all the comments. at Media Day. So again, definitely excited for Media Day. But looking forward, this week we're gonna be looking at a lot more, what defining roles, man. Tomorrow we're like looking at Malcolm Brogdon. We're gonna look at what his role is gonna be this year. What kind of trade packages can we get for him, over and unders, and take another look at the point guard situation in the 202, man. So definitely excited about basketball in Chocolate City, man. We're going to be a little bit better, but we ain't quite there yet, man. So definitely keep your faith, but we're going to get there eventually, guys. So again, appreciate you guys. Much love. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Hail to the Wizards, and peace. Everybody have a blessed night.